only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Generate, this is what we're going to try to do.
What your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. I have a dream.
Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Who's bringing?
Like when I was going to college, I was in a history class with a friend of mine who was from Brooklyn, and the professor was talking about when Argentina attacked the Falkland Islands. So, this guy's going, yo, Professor, what Falkland Islands you talking about?
Gotta get all situated, readjusting my mic so now I'm even more comfortable, which is probably, it's either going to be a really good thing because I'm going to be able to focus more on just like talking and having a conversation with my buddy, or it's going to be a bad thing and I'm going to be struggling to stay focused and not doze off.
Too comfy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get comfortable, but at what cost?
What cost?
Bringing in the pillows too.
The back support?
The back support. Like
Back
an old
support.
man. Oh, too much back support.
Too much back support. Too big a pillow.
It's arching my back out. Hold on. Pause. I'm going to adjust the microphone here. Oh, did it without making any bumping sounds. Look at that. That's skill. We're getting better, finally. Man, we're back. We're officially back.
We're back.
We're officially back. This is a little podcast math.
I was about to ask.
Another week out. So this will be next week's episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is 25?
Did I forget how many episodes there are?
Because I remember earlier you said
Hold
23,
on, I have to look
right?
at our own Spotify.
I think you said 23.
I didn't say the episode number last episode.
Oh, it's fine. You can always go in and post it and just add it.
I'll just like paste my voice like way too harsh over it in post. World Canon, let's see. How many episodes are we at?
I know it's in the low 20s.
Okay, we did the big con, was episode 26. So Andy's plane crash would be 27. So this is 28. Welcome to episode 28
So 28.
of the World Canon podcast. We are so back, baby.
We're back.
And we're on the couch.
I know, dude. It's so nice.
It's
It's actually a
awesome.
game changer, man.
I love it.
I feel like I could record like 9 episodes.
Yeah, it feels like we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Way more like we're just hanging out.
Yeah. It also doesn't hurt my neck as much.
Uh-huh.
I still have to like turn towards you.
Yeah.
But I can like
maybe you
actually
do
angle
something
my
about your
body.
microphone.
Because in the chairs, it was like this.
Yeah.
So I'd be like this when I look at you,
Turning your-
like head fully to the side.
And we'd be cooked by those lights.
Yeah.
The lights.
Lights were frying us.
Here, we can stop recording for a second. We can do something about your mic.
Oh, it's good. I'll do this.
Okay.
That'll work.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll adjust it a little bit for next time, though.
We're chilling.
Alrighty. Well, this feels good. I'm happy to be back. I think the last episode went very well. I think this episode is going to go very well. I'm very excited for next week's episode. And I'm very excited for what we have in store this year for World Canon. And I want to try to hit at least 50 episodes this year. I think we can do it.
In total or
In total?
So,
I
like,
think we
for-
can do more than that.
you're probably right.
But
well,
I'm hitting-
let's do the math. I mean, there's
Do you think we could realistically do an episode every week?
if we did 2 each time,
Yeah, 2 or more each time, yeah.
then yeah. So you mean like release 1 per week?
Yes.
So then if we did like twice a month,
No, you and I are way too busy to record.
way too
every
busy.
week.
I was telling my lady that earlier. I'm like, we're both have such different schedules
Yeah.
and so much going on. Like getting together in the same place is hard. But if we did 2 each time, so twice a month,
Mm-hmm.
and we could do 1 a week. Let's see how many months are left. 9 months left technically. Let's just discount March. Right? It'd be 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 9 times 4 would be 36.
Episodes?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be past 50. That's
So
nice.
you're saying 50 total
50 total.
out of what we've already released?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a very achievable number.
Sick.
Yeah.
You hear to hear, folks, from Alex himself. We're gonna succeed 50 episodes this year.
We'll surpass that if we're able to do.
Yeah.
One per week.
1,000 listeners.
Yeah.
Average every episode. 1,000 listeners every episode on Spotify alone.
Yeah.
Forget YouTube and iTunes and Amazon Music, which I don't think we have any listeners on Amazon whatsoever.
Dude, the amount of streaming stores there is crazy.
Yeah. Very easy to upload on all of these platforms, come to find out.
Yeah.
Which everybody and their mom has a podcast nowadays. But
Everybody, yeah.
It's not a cool thing anymore. It's just an excuse adults use to hang out.
It is.
Yeah.
In case you guys didn't know.
Yeah, Alex and I are literally just friends, and this is just something that we used to get away from our respective women folk and hang out with the guys. It's this or the shooting range.
Literally, dude.
This or the shooting range. And this is cheaper than spending $100 on ammo.
Yeah. Not in this economy. No, dude. For me, there's 3 things in life that, I guess 2, but I'll count this as 3, that I am like solely focused. Like when I do said activity, I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about tomorrow. I'm not doing any of that. Music, shooting range, and this.
Yeah.
Where like everything else ceases to exist. You know? And you can like solely go, okay, one thing. And it's so nice, like freeing for your mind to go to that place.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I get that. I don't really... I'm going to bump my mic up one little notch. There we go. I just need to turn my gain up a bit. Yeah, I don't really think about anything else when I do this. I would say that for the shooting range too, but I swear every time that gun goes off, I don't even hear the explosion of the powder going off. I just hear pra-ching, pra-ching.
Yeah.
Or rapid fire. It's pra-ching, ching, 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 ching.
Yeah.
It's pennies dropping.
Yeah. That's true. It can be hard to...
Yeah. No, not really. It's fun.
Yeah.
I want to take the shotguns out again. Go clay pigeon shooting. We need to do a turkey hunt.
Yeah, dude. I was recently looking into like taking hunter's ed online and then getting my license so I can do that stuff. I'm also getting a old hunting rifle gifted to me by my grandpa.
No way.
I'm gonna go see my family, my mom's side of the family, next week.
All wood body.
So actually, I forgot to mention I'll be in California, the 21st to the 28th.
All right. Well, we're already failing our consistency here.
But yeah, he's giving me an old BAR 308. Not what you're thinking.
No, I know what you mean though.
The hunting rifle.
Yes.
Yeah, 308. It's 4-round magazine. Got the bolt on there and everything.
Oh,
and it's vintage, dude. Wood furniture. It's got a scope on it. Yeah, I'm excited.
That's nice.
So I'll have a hunting rifle. Not anything
308.
crazy. Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's a big rifle.
I'm stoked. Because that's like, out of everything I have, that's what I feel like I'm missing. I got pistol, rifle, shotgun.
bolt action.
And it's like, it's semi-auto.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah.
You just said that.
Yeah. But he used it for hunting. Like, it's like 50 years old.
Dude,
He bought it in the 70s.
308's a big round.
I'm excited.
Have you fired my 308?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So you know.
it's a Savage, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice floating barrel.
Yeah. We shot
Floating bore barrel.
targets at like 30 yards with it. Yeah.
I'm a horrible shot with it.
Dude, bolt guns are
Went
different.
right through 1/4-inch plate of steel.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
that's a big round.
308's heavy.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke. I think Chris Kyle used a 308.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's got some stopping power.
He used a 308 or he used a 300 Win Mag. I can't remember because there's like this whole chapter in American Sniper where he talks about like how people love the 50 cal because it's this big gun, but he preferred using a 300 because it was smaller and he could fit a bigger mag.
Yeah, dude.
And it still did just as much damage to like a vehicle engine block.
Yeah, and it's like diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Like a 308 is enough to put down most things.
And he's not having to carry around a 400-pound rifle.
Yeah. And dealing with that recoil, dude. If you're out for days on end on a tour and you're firing a lot of rounds, I wouldn't want to have something that's killing my shoulder.
Exactly.
I'd
Plus
want
he could
a 308.
like he could carry the 308 or 300, whatever it was again, and a semi-auto rifle.
Yeah.
Like he could carry that and an M16.
Yeah.
Or
just that and a little like 10.5 barrel M4.
Yeah, an
and
AR-15
sidearm
or whatever.
Yeah.
AK he got off a dead Al-Qaeda member or whatever. Which I wanted an AK now too.
Dude, my buddy got an AK. It's a PSA AK-103, I think, or GF3. I don't know.
I want a lot of guns.
Same,
I want
dude.
a P90. I want an AK.
Same.
I want a Thompson.
Yeah.
I want a MG42.
Yeah. I want a 2011. That's my next.
I want a 1911.
Yeah. 2011 is my next adventure. I just blew my whole tax return on gun stuff.
I want like a Colt Peacemaker revolver.
Oh, like a little Colt Python.
Yeah. I want a musket. I want a flintlock pistol.
Dude.
I want a cannon. I want a modern howitzer, and I want an old lead ball, like 1700 style cannon.
I want an M1 Abram and an
Battle
F-16.
tank.
Yeah.
I want an A35.
The stealth bomber.
Yeah. I want a battleship.
You can get a permit for that, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right to bear arms, buddy.
Yeah.
Read the Second Amendment. All right. Well, we've done our 10 minutes of ranting at the beginning of the episode. Should we get into this story?
Let's do it.
I also haven't told you what this episode topic is about
Yeah, I'm going in blind.
because I forgot how to host a podcast.
It's okay.
Over
It's been 3.5 months.
Yep. But the audience probably knows because they read the title of the episode.
And then they heard the first 10 minutes. I'm like, what am I listening to?
Yeah. So if it's your first time here, this is a history podcast. All right. You did read the description right. We just like to rant and talk about other things sometimes because history on its own is very boring.
Guns, Halo, and cannibalism. If you like those three things,
We rant about those three things a lot.
those will make their way into every episode.
Especially Halo.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's
I
not
don't
because I have an unhealthy obsession with it.
I think it's just in our biology
True.
to like Halo.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It really is.
Yeah.
But yes, this is a history podcast, and our goal here is to make history fun. So we joke about it, we laugh about it, and we laugh about other things. Because we're just two guys who are friends using this podcast as an excuse to hang out.
And escape the women.
Especially that part. Hopefully my wife who was in the other room didn't hear that. But she will listen to this.
So she will hear that.
So she will hear it. But yes, you probably read the title of the episode. This episode is about the Falklands War.
Okay.
Falkland Islands War. What Falkland Islands?
Dude, every time we do an episode, it makes me realize how much more you know about just history overall than me.
Well, thank you, first of all. I know a lot of... I want to say I know that much, but I know of a lot.
That's
That
what I'm
makes
saying, though,
sense.
because you'll like bring something up and you're like, oh, like this. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm never not versed at all.
Yeah. Well, so like whenever we do a specific topic, like we're talking as a specific story, I still have to do a lot of research on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I guess I do know of the thing.
The general idea of like
Yeah.
what event took place. And yeah.
So you've never heard of the Falkland Islands War?
You know, I did watch a YouTube short.
Oh, is it? It might. I wonder if I can guess which short. Is it? Wait, like a short?
Yeah, like a short form
Oh.
YouTube short. Yeah.
Was it animated?
I don't know. I can't remember, but I have heard of this. I don't know what it is. I don't remember, but I have heard of the Falkland Islands.
Well, it wasn't a very big war, but Argentinians still kind of hate the British more than we do over this.
Which says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They talk funny.
Yeah. They do talk funny. I don't like the way they talk. It's weird. It's too
Lobster
proper.
bags.
It's too nice.
Red goats.
Yeah, should we get into this?
Yeah.
Alrighty. We're going way back for the start of this one. In 1833, England annexed the Falkland Islands in the South Atlantic and placed 28-year-old Royal Engineer Richard Clement Moody as governor, though he didn't arrive in the Falkland Islands until 1841. Once there, he and his family, along with around 50 other English citizens, made of sappers and miners with their families. The island had been void of any natives other than a few English men manning an old garrison from 1765. So this is one of the few instances in history where a major empire, especially the British, have claimed empty land. So there is no and I cannot stress this enough, there is no precedence that anyone can take, well, they kicked the natives out of their land and stole it. There was no one there.
Yeah.
They claimed this little island turf
Yeah.
pretty much fair and square.
Yeah.
There was like
Finders keepers, dude.
Yeah,
You pull up
literally.
on an island, there's no one there.
Take
and this
it.
is 200 years ago?
Yeah. This is no one's island.
Like,
It's
that's
theirs now.
mine. Yeah.
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 And it's not very useful. It's kind of a big hunk of rock and some wet grass, and it's cold all the time. So they just use it to store a bunch of sheep on.
And we, in human
just
fashion, we fought a war over it.
It's a giant sheep farm.
Yeah.
Literally. I'm not even kidding. It's one giant sheep farm.
Okay. And you said it's South America? So islands of South America?
Yes. So it's off of the southern. It's.
My brain is Google Mapsing right now.
I can't remember exactly how far away. It's somewhere in here in my notes. I'll read it in a little bit, I'm sure.
Okay.
But it's off the east coast of the southern tip of South America, specifically Argentina. So
Taking a trip down south today, man.
yeah. 2 stories back
Yeah.
to back of South America. Yeah, I was in a very South American mood when writing these episodes. I don't know why. I don't know. I just wanted to do some more global episodes.
Yeah.
And I just thought Argentina for whatever reason. So I did 2 Argentina related episodes.
Going down south.
Yep. But yeah, anyway, Old Garrison from 1765. Pretty quickly, more settlers started showing up from the UK, and a strong British government was established. The economy of the Falklands went up with sheep farming, like I said. So a lot of Scottish families moved there, and by the early 1900s, the population ranged around a staggering 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty decent sized little island.
Tiny little town. Though not a lot of people had ever lived there, today it ranges around 3,000. The Falklands have always been an important territory to the UK. Almost every single person on the island considers themselves British and have even voted saying so, and that they wish to stay with the UK. However, not everyone agrees. Argentina, too, claims to have sovereignty over the islands. Apparently, in 1820, an Argentinian privateer ship commanded by an American colonel named David Jewett landed in Port Louis on the island, seeking help for repairs from some English explorers. And also the garrison that had been there since 1765. There, he raised the Argentinian flag and read a decree claiming the land for Argentina, fired 21 cannons as a salute, then left after staying in the port for less than 6 months.
Bruh.
Though he never stayed and established any sort of colony or government. Yeah, he just
Kind of just
barely
his word. Yeah.
just said some stuff and
Yeah.
all right, bye. The American way, honestly.
Yeah.
Argentina never raised much of an issue over this until 1953, though, when President Juan Perón attempted to buy the islands from the UK. They said no, and in the 1960s, twice Argentine citizens attempted to lay claim to the islands. Once in 1964, a single pilot landed a small plane on a racetrack near the town of Stanley on the east side of the islands and handed a letter to a random islander claiming that Argentina had claim on the Falklands, then flew off. Yeah.
That's
So here, this is ours. Bye. Your home's mine now.
and they've already
Goodbye.
and at this point the British has already been there for a while.
Yeah, more than 100 years.
It's generations.
Like about almost 200 at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty much 200.
Yeah.
Pretty much 200 years. Yeah. 2 years later, 18 Argentine men hijacked a plane and landed it at the Stanley airport, then took everyone on the plane hostage and raised the Argentine flag. Then they gave up after one night of being in the cold and not having anything but biscuits and brandy to eat.
Biscuit.
come on, guys.
Sucks, man.
The Andes rugby team would have lasted way longer than that, dude.
Yeah,
They
dude.
would have started eating people.
70 days. Like after one day, I can't do the biscuits anymore, please.
No water, just brandy. Come on. Yeah, bunch of pansies.
Would you say brandy too?
Yeah, brandy and biscuits.
That's terrible.
BB. Brandy and biscuits for breakfast and dinner. Then the Argentine military started to get involved when in 1975, the Argentine destroyer ARA Almirante Stormy fired on the British RRS Shackleton, which was a research vessel carrying Lord Shackleton, to make an economic survey on the islands. The Prime Minister of the UK then dispatched a naval task force to the area, but nothing else came of it.
They poked the bear, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Poked the bear.
Argentina accused the UK of national piracy. They claimed the Falklands should be theirs despite no Argentines living on the island and all 3,000 plus residents being entirely from the UK or of UK descent. Also, there were no prior residents who were Argentine. Also, the Falklands were drastically closer to Argentina than the UK, being around 250 miles off the coast, whereas it was around 8,064 miles to the UK. Which makes sense for them not wanting a foreign presence that close, but still kind of bogus claims all around on their part.
Yeah. It is where, like, just geographically speaking, it makes sense for it to be theirs, but, like, logically speaking, it's the British found it.
It's like Cuba in Florida.
Yeah.
It's like if you look at a global map, Cuba is extremely close to Florida.
Right there. Yeah.
Like you could, if you were a strong swimmer, you could literally swim from Cuba to like the southern keys.
Haven't
of
people
Florida.
done it? Or am I tripping?
I think people have done
People
it.
might have done it. I don't know.
Yeah, Cuban immigrants.
Sweet.
Spiked up on that Cuban coffee, dude. And cocaine. And fear of Fidel Castro.
Fear of communism
Fear
and a little
of,
booger
yeah.
sugar will get you across.
Communism and hyped up on cocaine and
Yeah.
Cuban coffee.
Yeah.
You'll make that swim any day. Yeah, no, it's not a far distance at all.
Yeah, it's so close.
It's-
but this is what we're talking though with Argentina. It's like pretty far.
250 miles.
That's far.
250 nautical miles, but
Yeah.
in terms of a foreign country,
Just
a big powerful
correlation.
one, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
with a history of conquering places. It's
Yeah.
not, I'm sure, not that comforting, but
Yeah.
still, you know.
You gotta have some nuts to start shooting at the British.
Yeah, they've been
Like-
killing people for a very long time, and
Yeah.
they're very good at it.
Yeah, dude.
They're honestly, I'd say, better at it than us in some ways.
Sure.
Yeah.
Historically.
Maybe not so much anymore.
Historically, though.
Yeah.
Historically, for sure.
speaking, yes. Around this time, they were probably still pretty par with
Yeah.
us.
With the exception of the United States government smelling oil, then yeah.
If
They
now if
went.
there were oil on this island,
Oh, baby.
oh, Uncle Sam's knocking at the door.
Go milk the cow, man. Oh, my
Get
God.
those sheep out of there, dude. We are napalming your sheep.
Yeah. It would just blow everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Blow everything up. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Glad it was only sheep and not oil.
Yeah.
Now I say we're definitely better at killing people than the British.
100%. Best in the world. Best murderers in the world.
Especially if there's oil concerned.
Oil. To get a sniff of oil, it's done.
A bunch of little Iraqi children could attest to that.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, we'll get back to the
Back
story.
on track. Back on track.
Now, dude, I lost my place in my notes. The task force area, bogus claims all around on their part. Dude, where was I? Okay. Argentina's biggest argument when presenting the issue to the UN was, at the time, the major decolonization effort following World War II. Argentina tried to make it... Oh, wait, I just read that. No, I didn't. Argentina tried to make it sound like the Falklands were home to early Argentines before the British took it over, which, once again, were bogus claims, and everyone saw through it pretty much immediately, realizing if they conceded that, Argentina would then just do what they accused the British of and move into the island and subjugate all the UK citizens currently living there. When that didn't work, they decided to just do it by force. In 1982, Argentina was led by a brand new military junta government led by General Galtieri. I'm gonna say that's good. Air Brigadier Dozo and Admiral Anaya. Man. Anaya.
You really sounded that one out.
Yeah, it's not an accented in, so it's not Anyana. It's like Anaya. It's a tough one for me. So basically, a military dictatorship trinity. Argentina at the time was struggling with a crumbling economic issue, and the people weren't happy to the point things looked dicey for the current government or dictatorship. They needed a distraction, and no better distraction than a patriotic cause.
Oh, yeah. It's our land, baby.
These guys decided they had a solution to the long-time Falklands problem and thought the UK wouldn't care enough about their plan to actually do anything about it.
Assuming they're going to be wrong in that assumption.
You might be correct. On April 2nd, 1982, the Argentine military launched Operation Rosario. Several Argentine naval vessels landed over 500 troops around the town of Stanley. Platoons of Argentine soldiers stormed the Royal Marine Barracks, the government house, the Stanley Airport, and the lighthouse, as well as the town of Stanley itself, facing off against the small 79-man garrison, only 68 of which were actual Marines, or fighting men. The other guys were like support staff.
Mm-hmm.
They could still hold a gun.
Yeah, they could hold a rifle, they could shoot it.
And they probably did.
Yeah.
Needless to say, it was a quick Argentine victory with only one Argentine casualty. Almost immediately, the Argentines began enforcing Argentine law on the citizens, going as far as forcing citizens to speak Spanish and drive on the right side of the road, even though most roads were only one lane.
That's cruel, man.
That's the worst part.
That is the worst part.
Forget being forced to speak a different language and everything else.
You gotta drive on the other side? You gotta unlearn everything?
That's disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, heck no.
Mm-hmm. Though, then again, I would say that is the right side of the road. That's the sound of me slapping my knee, everyone. Also, that's the side of the road that we drive on here in this country. So good on Argentina for that one.
Okay,
that's the right way to do it.
Gotta give it to him with that, yeah.
I'll give him props for that one. Needless to say, I just read that part. Initially, the British almost didn't even know it was happening until it was over and were surprised despite being warned by the only naval vessel they had in the area many times.
Dude, the Argentines just pulled up and said, you talk funny and you drive on the wrong side of the road. And that changes now.
Hola, amigo. ¿Cómo estás? This is mine now.
I claim
this island, this sheep farm is mine. Goodbye. The HMS Endurance. That was the British ship there. At the time, the Endurance was several hundred miles east at South Georgia Island, where there had been an earlier and smaller Argentine incursion. The next day, the British government authorized a naval task force in the Mediterranean to prepare to sail south, commanded by Admiral John Fieldhouse. Ultimately, this task force would consist of 127 ships, including 43 combat naval vessels from destroyers, submarines, cruisers, and 2 aircraft carriers, 22 auxiliary ships, and 62 merchant vessels. However, only the aircraft carriers would actually be used in the 200-mile radius war zone around the Falkland Islands. It took nearly 7 weeks for the task force to make it within range of the islands. By then, the Argentines had reinforced them with over 11,000 troops and several naval vessels. And there's a very loud car driving by outside. I wonder if the mics picked that
It
up.
might have picked a little bit of it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, whatever. For the sake of everyone's sanity, especially mine, and not having to keep up with so many numbers and ships, Argentina only had around 12 ships in the area, and the UK had around 127 committed to the war. Now, the actual numbers in the war zone were like the 2 aircraft carriers, the Endurance, and I think a couple other ships, like cruisers and destroyers and maybe a submarine. But honestly, I could not find that much on actual numbers. Maybe because it was like a British operation and they try to keep the numbers hush-hush.
Maybe.
I don't know. And it wasn't that long ago. It was like in the 80s. But I genuinely, for the life of me, I could not find much on British numbers.
You know what's weird too is the stuff like this. It's like in the midst of all of, like the fighting and death, I feel like both sides forget about what they're fighting for. Because it's like, but it's like, okay, British finds island, takes island, island ours for 200 years.
Pretty standard.
Argentines come say, no, it's closer to us, we take. Argentines take it. And at that point, it's like, does the British really gain a ton by having it? Well, maybe, sure, there's arguments to be made. But then it's like, they can't look weak. That's why they're coming back to. That's the main thing.
History.
Like, we can't let them just push us over. We're going to look weak. We got to go take it back.
Well, they had 3,000 citizens living there.
That too.
Who were suddenly under an oppressive
yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
dictatorship.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So there was that.
There was 3,000.
And who knows how much sheep. Gotta save those sheep,
There's
dude.
3,000 people, and the main resource is sheep?
Mm-hmm.
Probably a lot of sheep.
I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
Anywho, they had 127 ships committed. Not sure how many were actually there, but for sure, the 2 aircraft carriers and the HMS Endurance. That much I know for certain. The biggest challenge the UK faced was just the sheer distance, which is the main reason they sent so many ships in the first place. Argentina technically had home advantage being so close and could more easily commit forces, especially air support, from mainland air bases. Overall, the Argentine Air Force had around 200 aircraft, around 120 being fighters, and the rest helicopters and cargo planes. While the British had over 50, 24 being Harrier fighter jets and the rest helicopters. And this is literally what I just said, for the life of me, I also could not figure out the exact number of troops committed by either side, but most sources agreed the 11,000 original Argentines on the islands was it, and the UK brought maybe around 30,000. But only, I know, right? But only some of those ever actually stepped foot on the islands. So I think really only Marines were boots on the ground.
Okay.
And once again, for the life of me, I could not figure out how many Marines got on the ground. But safe to say, probably like a couple 10,000.
Enough.
Yeah, enough.
Enough.
Now, we know who wins here. You click on the Falkland Islands on Google Maps, see which flag pops up.
Yeah.
All right. It's not hard to figure this one out. But we're going to tell you the story of how that happened.
Poke the bear.
They poked the big, centuries-old bear.
Very wealthy, powerful, aggressive bear.
With lots of guns.
The resources, man.
If it were only the few cruisers that made it into the war zone, then there would have been several thousand British troops on the ground at most. On May 21st, the first British troops of the 3rd Commando Brigade made landfall in the Bay of San Carlos, which is on the west side of the eastern of the Falkland Islands. Hopefully that's not extremely confusing for people. I guess I should explain this real quick, but if you look at a picture of the Falkland Islands, it's like two larger islands split apart.
Okay.
With like a channel in between them, and then there's like a couple tiny little ones around. But there's the two main bodies, and the eastern island is where the major population centers are. So like the town of Stanley is the capital town. That's like where almost everybody who lives in the Falkland Islands, that's where they live, is in Stanley. And there's like a couple other small villages around. But Stanley's pretty much it. The East Island is where pretty much everyone lives.
Makes sense.
The West there might be a few people, but it's mostly just empty land and maybe some sheep.
Lots of sheep.
Lots of sheep. It's just sheep everywhere.
Well, they keep
every
the sheep,
square inch of this island is just a sea of sheep.
GPS is just white. It's just all sheep.
It looks like it's snow, but really it's sheep.
It's just sheep.
You're just wading through sheep.
Yeah.
They should call this the Sheep Wars. 1982 Sheep War.
Name. The Sheep Wars.
Yeah, they landed commandos. They were able to quickly establish a beachhead against almost zero opposition, but any sort of cockiness would be wiped out of the British over the next few days. Though ground combat was not very serious from the 21st to the 25th, the air and naval combat was. 3 HMS ships, the Ardent, the Antelope, and Coventry, were all sunk.
Jeez,
killing
dude.
42 crew members in total. So the Argentines brought a lot of... They were bringing it.
They were going down with that fight.
They were all in. They were all in. All right, they did some damage to the British. They were not all bark and no bite. they had means. And this is the issue of writing this so long ago, because I feel like I keep wanting to say stuff, and then I look at my notes and realize I wrote it down.
Yeah.
But here, all 3 of those ships were sunk from Argentine air attacks via dive bombers carrying Exocet anti-ship missiles, courtesy of the French. So a lot of the ships sunk, even the Argentine ships sunk, were from these Exocet missiles. These like French built, they're called Exocet. Is like the company missiles, and they make like surface to surface missiles, air to surface missiles, surface to air missiles, and that's what like all of these are. So they're like fighter jets firing these missiles at ships. Just swoop in, hit it right at the waterline and sink it.
That's a crazy visual in the mind. Just
It's
to imagine
sick.
the helicopters and the jets and
There's
the
like-
boats and the guys on the ground and all the water and the remoteness. Like, that's crazy.
And it's freezing too.
Is it cold there?
Yeah, it's very cold. It's very
Wow.
wet and cold. You're very far. You're like a few miles from Antarctica, basically.
The entire visualization just changed in my brain.
Yeah.
I was imagining like
This isn't a tropical island.
I was imagining like
Yeah, you say
Iwo Jima and like
No, this is flat, barren, a little bit of grass, mostly rock.
okay.
You're very close to Antarctica.
Dude, yeah, okay, so it's cold. This changes everything.
All open
It's
landscape.
a whole new world.
Mm-hmm. 3 British ships are already sunk.
It's not looking good.
No, it's not. I mean, thankfully they have 124 left on the way.
Max ammo.
Maximum chance for success.
Yeah.
The British retaliated by sinking the only Argentine cruiser in the area, the General Belgrano, via a submarine called the Conqueror. Pretty cool name for a submarine.
That is.
Killing nearly the entire Argentine crew with 323 casualties.
Cheap wars.
Meanwhile, air combat was still prevalent and probably the main form of combat over the islands. The 2 British aircraft carriers had a hard time keeping up with Argentine Air Force's home field advantage. Overall, the British would end up losing around 23 aircraft, including 4 Harrier fighter jets.
Jeez. Dude.
The Argentines had around 45 of their aircraft shot down during the fight. If those numbers sound weird, it's because they are, and here's why. Despite having... I just want to say this real quick. I forgot everything I wrote in this because I wrote this so long ago. So I'm like hearing the story for the first time too.
Okay.
It's kind of like things are a surprise to me too.
It's like, oh, wait a minute.
It's
It's
fun.
45.
Yeah, I was not expecting that number. Despite having the home advantage, the British had something crucial to modern day air combat the Argentines didn't. Air-to-air missiles on all their fighters, whereas the Argentines only had a few. Most Argentine jets only had 122 millimeter cannons, which when faced up against another jet with heat-seeking missiles is a huge disadvantage.
It's not fair. That is not fair. But again,
no.
they poked the wealthy, rich, powerful, aggressive bear.
Exactly.
Like, what do you want? He's got heat-seeking missiles.
They're using leftover supplies from the U.S., which this is another note, and I don't know if I put this in here, but pretty much all their ground troops are using like World War II surplus equipment from us. Yeah. So like if you look at pictures of this, all the Argentine soldiers look like they just got back from storming Normandy. I'm not even kidding.
Dude. Oh, so it's
I mean,
Britain's a little OP.
Yeah, most of their guns are modern, so they're using like FALs from the 70s.
Okay.
But some of their guns are still pretty old.
Yeah.
They're like World War II era.
Like
But
Car
all of
98.
their, yeah,
Some dude's just firing the same caliber full auto at you.
literally,
Yeah.
literally no joke.
Yeah.
But all of their like clothing and stuff is World War II Army guy, or like Korean War at least. And they're like using like Korean War, World War II era bazookas, things like that.
So they're a few decades behind the current technology,
with a lot of their equipment.
which typically falls on the losing side.
True. Very true.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to do guerrilla warfare on a very flat, barren island.
Yeah, dude.
Nowhere to hide, really.
No cover.
Nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
You can just kind of lay down flat.
It's kind of like
no one-
zigzagging, dodging
Pretty
bullets.
much.
Zigzag. Yeah.
On May 28th, the Battle of Goose Green took place at a choke point created by the only land bridge between the north and south side of the eastern Falkland Island. 690 British paratroopers attacked a garrison of 1,100 Argentine soldiers. The battle was over a wide, mostly flat and featureless terrain with nothing more than shrubs and gentle hills and ditches to provide cover. The battle lasted a long 14 hours, resulting in 18 British casualties. By now, the Argentine soldiers had seemed to have enough. Oddly enough, despite their now 7-week occupation of the islands, many were still underdressed for the cold and underfed. On top of that, they were exhausted from the airstrikes the British had inflicted on them for weeks prior. By the droves, they started to surrender to a force smaller than their own until 961 were made POWs. 55 others had been killed in the fighting, and the few others were MIA. Nearby were some large black barns, which the British decided to turn into temporary stockades and hold the Argentine POWs until they could be moved elsewhere. The fields surrounding the Goose Green were littered with Vietnam and World War II era steel helmets and weapons, abandoned by the Argentines when they surrendered. So yeah, Vietnam too. I forgot about that. So
yeah.
a lot of their stuff is old.
Which wasn't Nam around that same era?
It was like 20 years before.
Okay.
Well, no, it would have like just ended.
Yeah, it was like
So
kind of back to back.
yeah, so yeah, they had like some Vietnam gear too that we gave them.
There you go, buddy.
You have our leftover stuff.
I'm getting my heat-seeking missile
Some
fighter jet.
19-year-old from Kentucky died in this a few years ago. You can have it.
Oh, sad but true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to do a Vietnam episode.
Yeah, dude.
That would be a really fun, dark episode.
Yeah.
We should do a whole episode on Vietnam war crimes.
Dude,
My Lai,
I'm down.
the My Lai massacre.
I'm down.
The way that guys would hugely exaggerate enemy casualties after a firefight.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they were just civilians. All the stuff the CIA did. in the way it was just sort of like a sandbox for testing weapons and wartime technology. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
We should do that.
Dude, we should also do... Have you seen Band of Brothers?
Yes. You want to do an episode on Easy Company?
That's what it's called. It's on the tip of my tongue. Have you seen The Pacific?
Yeah, you want to do an episode on one of those guys?
Dude. What was the main guy's name?
Eugene something.
No. Not in the Pacific. And maybe what? No. Was it? I'm getting them confused. No, it was the Pacific. The main guy who like they used as like a poster boy. I can't think of his name.
That's John Bastogne.
That's his name. Mm-hmm. Yes, that guy.
Hero of Guadalcanal.
Yes.
We could do an episode on John Bastogne.
Yes.
Yeah,
that episode
I would
was
like
hard,
that. That'd
bro.
be fun.
That episode was, yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The way he died in that show was so hardcore.
Dude, yeah.
Kind of sad though. He just got married.
Yeah. So good.
Spoiler alert, but if you haven't watched it, this show's been out.
It's
for
all
almost
historical
20
events
years,
too.
I think.
Yeah, it's all historical events. So this is not like something made up that you haven't seen. It's like, no, this happened.
Very dramatized, but it's very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the Battle of Guadalcanal was crazy.
Brutal.
Alligator Creek was wild.
Brutal, dude. It's like eye-opening to what a civilian glimpse at real warfare was like at those times. With those conditions, who the enemy was, like...
Especially Alligator Creek, too. Like, the fact that they even, like, were still there.
Yeah.
The fact that they held off that Japanese attack. Because, I mean, if the Japanese knew what they were up against, they would have kept attacking.
Yeah.
They would have steamrolled them.
Mm-hmm.
They would have snuck around them or something. But they would have eventually won. Because it was not enough Marines there. But just by, like, sheer grace of God.
Yeah.
And lots of bullets.
Lots of bullets.
Lots and lots of machine gun and rifle bullets.
And that too is like around the time where like firearms technology was like slowly ramping up. Mm-hmm. It was slowly getting like pretty close to where it's at today, just in terms of the capability.
It would be... And just one more thing real quick, and we'll get back to the
Sheep Wars.
Yeah. We should do an episode about like wartime technology and how it's
That would be
progressed.
cool, dude.
Just talking about the Civil War would be fun.
That'd be fun.
Because people... Here's something that I really like to point out whenever I can, just to show off what I know, because it makes me feel smart. People like to say how war really made a turn in World War One, which is true. That's the first time war like really, really modernized.
Yeah.
Like machine guns were huge. Planes.
Yeah.
People were fighting from planes. They were dropping bombs from planes. They
Like
were
war from all angles.
Yes.
Not just on the ground. That's the big thing.
That's millions of people died.
Yeah.
Pretty much for no reason, and very very
Archduke
quickly.
Ferdinand. Yeah.
Yeah. But this American Civil War, I'd argue, was really the first modern war, because up to that point, wars were very slow. They were fought in very I mean, like how, like very. They weren't rapidly moving around as much. They would be fought in like very decisive battle here, very decisive battle there. I mean, the American Revolutionary War was a little bit modern in some aspects. Napoleon's antiques over in Europe were a little modernistic in some aspects, but when it comes to technology and tactics, I think the American Civil War was the first time it really got modernized. It's when killing became very industrialized for the first time in history. Machine guns made their first appearance with the old Gatling gun. You can mow down people very quickly. Repeaters, revolvers made it much easier for people to kill very quickly and efficiently. Very early bolt-action rifles, stuff like that. But then the tactics too, like full-on trench warfare before World War One was even a thing. guys in trenches with repeater rifles, maybe a Gatling gun every once in a while, against wave after wave of guys who were led by generals who thought that they could just storm a trench because everybody had muskets.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. Everyone had revolvers and repeaters now. So 100 guys could withstand 10,000 guys if they kept their fire rate at a constant pace. And that's when you got things like the Bloody Angle. I did a whole episode on this when I did the Civil War series, and I can't remember the place. But people who listen to that will remember the Bloody Angle. Tons of people died because Grant just kept throwing guys at a trench. And eventually his tactics did pay off and they won, but a lot of Union guys died. A lot of people died that probably didn't need to die.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever. It was a while ago. Who cares now?
I would be fascinated to do an episode on kind of the modernization of warfare. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very crazy, pivotal moment in history because there were guys with Gatling guns and repeater rifles while they were still using bayonets at the same time and clubbing.
That's
and
weird to think about.
Lead ball cannons
That you'd like, pew.
but also some rifled artillery cannons, muskets and Gatling guns and revolvers and rifled artillery were all on the same battlefield. Just a thought.
Just a thought. Powerful
Very
thought.
crazy.
Yeah.
Very, very crazy. Anyway, back to the sheep wars.
Sheep wars.
Near the big black barns that they put the Argentines in. After this, the next major battle would be the attack on Stanley, the Falkland capital. The plan was to surround the city first, then push in. 3 large hills surrounded it: Harriet, Longden, and the Two Sisters, all of which were set up as Argentine strongpoints. First, they would have to get close enough, so June 8th, they began landing 17 miles south of the capital city. Here, the Argentine Air Force launched their most devastating attack in a last-ditch effort to thwart the British. Argentine bombers caught the landing force unaware, destroying several landing vessels and killing 56 British troops and wounding another 150.
Jeez.
However, the Royal Commandos would continue their assault of the capital. The plan was to attack the 6 strongpoints located around the city, then move into the city itself. The first 3 strongpoints were located on 3 large hills called Mount Harriet, Mount Longden, and the Two Sisters, all defended by... I just said that again. Oh well. All defended by Argentine forces. On June 11th, all 3 were captured. Mount Longden resulting in the most casualties, being the most defended and surrounded by mines. Excuse me. Oh, man. I don't know, dude. This weird cold or flu going around is crazy. After that, it was the other 3 strong points: Mount William, Mount Tumbledown, and Wireless Ridge, all of which were also surrounded by minefields, but were all 3 captured by June 13th and 14th. By now, mostly all Argentine ground forces were crammed into the capital city, where those who had defended the strong points surrounding it had fell back to. By now, the Argentines and Stanley knew they were not prepared to face up against their enemy, and no help was coming. On the evening of June 14th, thousands of Argentine troops surrendered. 6 days later, a little bit more fighting, 6 days later, and a little bit more fighting, all 10,065 surviving Argentine troops on the western Falkland Island and Sandwich Island to the south surrendered also. To this day, the Falklands and surrounding dependents are still British, and in 2013 had a 98% vote in favor of remaining so. And Argentina is still not happy about the loss. Which is, it brings to mind there's this episode of Top Gear, car show, like Richard Hammond, James May, and the orangutan. Was it,
I know you're talking about.
Clark.
Yeah.
Clarkson. Clarkson's Farm. That's a great show. They go to Argentina to do like one of their road trip special episodes, and they go to the most southern tip of Argentina, which is like the most southern landmass, main continental landmass before you get to Antarctica. And they were gonna play like real life Rocket League. They're gonna play soccer and cars there, but then like they got a whole soccer field set up and everything, and they were gonna do it, and then they suddenly got shut down by the government in the town they were in, and the whole reason was just because the Argentines didn't want British there, and they didn't want like
Still salty, man.
film. Yeah,
still salty.
British film crew filming there, and they're like, well, why? What's it all about? And you just hear like the producer off camera, because of the Falklands. Like, oh, okay,
Oh, that's right. We fought a war.
Yeah, the sheep wars.
Sheep wars.
So yeah, it's I think even today it's still kind of like still a salty topic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. It kind of makes sense. It'd be like if, I don't know how far Hawaii is from like our western border, but that'd be like China or Russia.
Taking Hawaii, and then we couldn't do anything about it.
Like say they get there first, and then we're like, hey, it's closer to us. Go there. And
I mean, Japan tried that, and we dropped 2 nukes on them. So I don't know, dude.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the meme of Japan where it's like, it shows like these warriors. It's like the history of Japan. It shows these warriors, then it just shows the fat man and the little boy explosion.
Yeah,
and then it just shows the
waifu pillow. Yeah,
dude, it's so bad.
Dude, I love that so much.
Bad. Guys, we're not racist, okay? We just like to laugh.
There's some really good history memes. That's such a nerdy thing for me to say, but I saw this really funny one where it's like there's one type of history buff I really do not like, and it's a type of World War II history buff who's like way too much on Germany's side. And
what?
Not to the point where they're like a Nazi, but like where they're way too apologetic about it. And one of their favorite things to say is that Germany would have potentially won if they had been able to hold up the Eastern Front against Russia, which is kind of true. Maybe, but not really. There's this one meme I saw is it's like in quotes, well, Germany would have won if they had held up an Eastern Front, and then right below it says Munich on a random Tuesday if Germany held up the Eastern Front, and it's just a nuclear explosion blowing up.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, we would have dropped a nuke on Germany too if they were still around.
I don't think
that's the whole point.
I don't think there's a scenario where they truly like succeed.
No, because we would have beat them to the nukes. If they were still around,
yeah,
we would have dropped nukes on Germany too, as well as Japan.
Yeah. And
then Germany would have made some anime too. We'd have German anime.
It'd be a wildly different country. Dude, have you been getting, I don't know if it's just me, I asked my coworkers, they said no, I've been getting this Norwegian pop song on my Instagram reels. These 2 dudes that play a certain part of the song where I think the artist is saying to like open a beer. And it's just these 2 dudes just opening a beer to the song. And I've got like a dozen of them on my feed. It's like every other reel the past few days. It's just these 2 dudes.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
You have to see if you can find one and send it to me, and I'll add it in here.
Yes, I will.
See if I can remember to add it in here.
I will.
Just a little soundbite of it.
Dude, the song? Actually good.
It's actually good.
Yeah, because I don't know what they're saying.
Is it like one of those Eurovision pop, like Euro pop songs?
Maybe. It's all in, I think, Norwegian. It might be German. I don't know, to be honest. It's catchy. But all the comments are just American people like, why is this on my Instagram feed? What is my algorithm?
Dude, okay, what happened February 26th? I missed this. Everyone on Instagram is memeing about February 26th being the day of violence on Instagram. And I have no idea what that's about.
What? February 26th? Where was I February 26th? I was making cold calls on February 26th. I don't know, dude.
That was probably at work too. That's why I missed it.
Yeah.
I only watch Instagram on the toilet.
Yeah, every time I get a meme from Chris, I'm like, oh, he's pooping.
Dude, that's exactly you and my wife, dude. That's when I send my best memes. That's when I do my best work, is when I'm sitting on the toilet.
Yep. It's the think tank. February 26th. What is it?
I don't know what it's about, but it was like
Pistachio Day? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, thoughts on the Great Sheep War of 1982? The Falklands Islands.
The Falkland Sheep Wars.
The Falkland Islands.
I don't know, dude. It's such a weird thing. It's a very niche battle. You know? Like, majority of people probably don't know what this is.
Yeah.
You know? And it was so probably, like, not super impactful.
One of the only
world.
times where the British were 100% in the right.
Yeah, where they had the green light to, like,
Steamroll
some morality. Yeah.
a country of Spanish-speaking people. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, the British find this unclaimed island.
To steamroll a borderline third world country. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But they find this island, and they're like, cool, this is ours. They settle there for 200 years.
No one else there?
Nobody else there. It's their right to take it. Cool. And then it's like, okay, you can understand why Argentina is salty about that, but it doesn't mean you have to launch a full-scale attack and enslave their people, basically. Make them speak a different language, drive on a different side of the road, force your government policies on them. They didn't do anything wrong. There's no one there when they claimed it. This is also, they claimed it way before we had, like, super accurate geography. Way before you could just, like, go on your phone.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like all paper maps. So it was just like people like, oh yeah, those islands by Argentina. It wasn't like the island's right there, you know. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. I think Britain had every right to take it back and take it in the first place.
And defend their 3,000 people living there.
Yeah. And I think Argentina had every right to be salty, but to fight a war over it, that's pretty excessive to me. I don't know.
It was a distraction.
Like, is it a threat to their domestic security? Yes.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Yeah. If someone wanted to post up at Hawaii or Cuba, that wouldn't be good for the States, right? So I get it, but also, like, screw off. They were there first.
Hey, screw off, mate.
Screw off, mate. Peace off, wanker.
I really wish I knew enough Spanish to just start yelling something in Spanish.
I know zero Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get Argentina's point of view. But also, it literally was just a distraction from their crippling economy and dictatorship.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, it really was just like three guys. The holy dictatorship trinity that needed like something to distract the people.
Yeah. Desperate times, man.
Desperate times call for
War.
a war of patriotism. 9/11. What? Patriot Act? What?
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 No, I didn't say anything.
No, I didn't hear anything. Little coffee slurp ASMR.
Little cough. Yeah. It's cold now.
Yeah, I bet it's been sitting there. It's like 6:30.
But, yeah, so don't pick a fight with the British if you're a Spanish-speaking third world country.
Yeah.
Just a good rule of thumb.
Good principle to live by.
I wonder what all my Argentine family members are going to think of this episode.
I don't know. Have you talked to them about this at all?
No. But they do know I was going to do an Andy's plane crash.
Hmm.
Well, they're not Argentine. They're American, but they lived in Argentina for a very long time, and they like Argentina.
Okay.
So,
But I'm assuming they associate more with American culture?
yes.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Are they patriotic?
Very.
All right.
I don't know.
Probably fine. Only one way to find out.
Yeah. Post.
Upload.
Upload.
Upload everywhere on the internet that I can.
Yeah. Well, that was this episode. I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was a little bit... well, no, we're at like an hour and 5 minutes.
Not bad.
Crazy. That's a good one.
Not bad.
Yeah. So we're going to try to get back to a good, consistent schedule after, I think 3.5 months was a good enough break.
I think it was.
I think we're well rested.
We're in concurrence, yeah.
I think we want to get back into this. We want to have some more fun. Want more people to come and enjoy this with us. But yeah, I am in the middle of moving, so things might be a little shaky for a couple more weeks.
So honestly, the timing is not bad because I'll be out of town next week, so...
Yeah. But after that,
Yeah.
we're back.
We're back.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we're going to be trying to upload consistently again. Maybe even once every week.
Yeah, I think it's a good goal. I think it's achievable.
I do too. I'm glad you agree. Yeah, we got plenty more episodes in store, plenty more ideas for episodes. We've already got our next few picked out. I don't know exactly what we're going to do next. But yeah, it's exciting. We got a lot of ideas that we really want to talk about.
A lot of ideas.
A lot of ideas. The best ideas. Ask anyone. Yeah, we got a lot of ideas that we're excited to talk about. We wanna do an episode on every single one of them, and we have fun with this. So please join us next week. Hopefully, we can get an episode out.
We're back
next week.
We
if
promise
not the
we're
week
back.
after that.
Yeah,
we promise. I shouldn't say that. I promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me. Check out Alex's music. Alex, you got anything to say to the lovely folks?
Yeah. I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be back doing this. It's nice. We'll get back into routine after all the shakiness of the next few weeks. We'll get to uploading, and we'll get to... I like watching this evolve. Going from like the first episode where it was like...
You could say that maybe devolve would be a better frame.
Devolve
from
the
full studio to the couch
couch
in the living room.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess just in the structure.
I really like this, though.
Yeah.
Just talking on the couch is so chill and nice.
It is chill. I feel like it's something we do anyways if we hung out.
Yeah.
And we probably talk about Halo and...
But we stick
the
microphones
Falkland
in front
Islands
of our
and-
face and hope that someday we can make money off of talking to each other.
That's the idea, yeah.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
I won't shy away from that.
Yeah.
Be honest about it. But yeah, anyway, please join us next week. Thank you for listening. This has been episode I already forgot of World
28.
28?
28.
We're going to say 28. Episode 28, World Canon. The Falkland Islands War. The Sheep Wars. We're just going to say Sheep Wars.
Sheep Wars.
Sheep
I like
Wars.
Sheep Wars, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye.
Guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
There is no constitutional issue here. The command of the Constitution is plain.
And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Mr. Gorbachev,